my buddy who bets racing like a savant. Hey, bet Austin Dillon. I don't know if you were 60-1 to win that event in 2018.
Oh, I know. I've been told multiple times, but I guess it was a secret out there because I got bet slips brought to me and had to autograph them. It was funny.
Is that something that's talked a lot about on the track? Like when you've got the favorite to a race, like you're kind of messing with the guy like, hey, oh, really? You're going to win. That's what they're all telling me. See those signs over there, that BetMGM sign? They say that you're going to win this race. But, I've got a little bit of value this week.
Yeah, I feel like racing is an interesting sport. So when you see the odds, especially being in it, you're like, all right, I get a little more fired up. Yeah, I got to prove them wrong. And but it is fun when a bettor comes to you and said, man, you made me some money. The funniest part is like, hey, man, I got money on you today. And I'm like, yeah, I got money on me every weekend. I got to win. Like, it's funny when they come up to you like, do good today. I got money on you. Like, yeah, I'm trying. I promise.
I feel like, and again, I'm not a big NASCAR bettor, but I do dabble when I get a good bet. And I feel like Denny Hamlin's been a favorite for 15, 20 years now. It's just crazy to see him still at the top of every betting board for every event that he's in. For those that don't follow and don't understand it like you do, what makes Denny Hamlin and guys like that so powerful in this sport?
Yeah, he's just he's solid. He's with a great organization that puts out great race cars, and then he's got a very unique way of going about different style tracks, and he's just a good driver, man. I mean, he's an elite driver at the top of our sport. So each weekend he gives himself opportunities to win, and he's won a lot of races. I mean, he's a Hall of Fame kind of talent, and hasn't got that championship, but man, he can win any weekend. He's a threat.
So, Austin, it was kind of like what you were saying there with some of the fans coming up to you, and I'm sure social media, you're as accessible as you want to be. People reach out to you, but there's a good and a bad. Like even us, like we're in the betting world, we get annoyed when we see people going after athletes, or the same thing in fantasy football. Like you have those conversations too. Like athletes are like, oh, I'm your quarterback this week, and they're yelling at me about this. Like it's a fine line, but you're also into fantasy football a lot too. When you get into those pools.
Oh yeah, I have a family league. I have a couple leagues I'm in. I mean, I do mock drafts. I do the whole thing. I enjoy sports in general. I think when I was coming on, you guys were talking about that Knicks Pacers game maybe last night.
Oh yeah,
and that was epic. I love betting NBA playoff basketball. It's a lot of fun. I put a bet in overtime. They still had the Pacers plus 120 or something, 125. I threw a bet on the Pacers as soon as that game went to overtime. That paid off. I'm a huge Brunson fan, but when you get a 14-point deficit erased like that, I don't think you can recover from that kind of momentum. And they both had 5 fouls, OG and Brunson. So I felt like the Pacers were going to go at them, and they were able to bring it on home.
Joe told us we have to bet Indiana plus 4.5, and we were chalking that up as a loss. I mean, you're mad because it's probably going to lose, and then I said it off the top of the show. I wish people could have just watched me watch the end of the game because I'm sitting at home, I'm having some cocktails, I'm holding 4.5. I don't think it's going to win, and then they win the game outright. I mean, it's you can't describe the feeling of winning a bet you're supposed to lose. It's very difficult to do.
Yes, no, you don't see that very often. And then when you come from, you probably wish you would have doubled down and believed it when they were plus 14 live betting it. Could you imagine? What was it? A minute to go, they were down 9. Did I lock up on you guys?
No, we're good now.
Okay.
Yeah, there were a lot of wild moments in that game, and obviously the one that everybody's pointing to is Halliburton. Toe on the line. There's so much going on. You got the toe on the line, and then you think of Katie, and then you see it rattling around, and then you start to think of Kawhi.
And that thing shot off the rim. I'm like, no way it's going to come back through. And then sure enough, I mean, falls right in. It's crazy.
So then you get the choke sign. As an athlete, are you thinking, oh my, his toe's on the line. The game's not over. He's given the choke sign, and they didn't even win the game.
Yeah, it definitely wouldn't have played out nicely if they didn't clutch it in overtime. But still, to come down 14 at he's being honest. They did choke it away. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
even if they don't win, that was just poor way to finish a game. And um, what's funny about Halliburton? His shot has so much arc on it. He can get shots to go like that. I feel like he's shooting that ball to the rafters when he releases it. So and one of my buddies was like 2 point shot, worst shot in basketball, and I'm like, he was just trying to get the ball up. He was going for it too, first of all, and got backed out of there. And Robinson couldn't go contest the shot fast enough. So the fact that he got the ball off really was impressive too. I mean, even though it was a two, it was a heck of a shot.
Where are we at on the Panthers? I know you're a big Carolina Panthers fan. Win total 6.5. Now, wise guys last year were in love with Dave Canales. They bet him over the win total. They bet him a lot week to week, and maybe the results weren't as plentiful. But if you can ignore last year and look ahead, there's going to be some support for over 6.5. Is 7 realistic? 7, 8 wins?
I think so, especially in the division that they're in. I feel like Bryce came into his own last year. The bench, whatever you want to call it, bringing him back, and the receiving core that they upgraded in the offseason, I think is going to be special. The offensive line was addressed last year. I mean, we've got a stout offensive line, and the defense is kind of young and scrappy. I definitely see 7 wins. Like I said, that division, it doesn't look like there's any world beater out there in that division. I mean, the Saints are looking for a quarterback. Penix is going to be in his second year, not even a full first year, really. I think Bryce has the upper hand, really, when it comes to that QB competition in the NFC South. So you got Baker down there, and Baker's Baker. He's always going to be in the fight, but you never know what they're going to be either. So I feel like 7 wins they can win the division and be in the playoffs.
I
Falcons
noticed that
certainly
smile. Wait
disappoint.
a minute. When you
Yeah.
said Baker, you lit up like a Christmas tree. Did Baker make you some money back in the day or what?
Well, no, I mean Baker's just a dog. He's got that mentality. He's a gunslinger, and but you don't know what you're gonna get. You probably get a couple interceptions in there with that too. So, like, he's been able to make himself a home in Tampa Bay and do really well. But I still think I think the quarterback situation in that division is probably maybe one of the weakest divisions right now as far as who is the guy in that division.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. You don't know with the Falcons. People always hype up the Falcons coming into the season. Then they change their tune. But yeah, upgrade there. You bring in Ted McMillan. It's a good signing. Austin, it felt
Jimmy
like
Horn, I think he's a slot guy you better watch late in your fantasy draft. I'm
that's the
hearing a lot
guy.
of good things about. I'm hearing a lot of good things about Jimmy Horn, which I mean, Jalen Coker was a really good slot receiver for us last year. That was undrafted. So late, look for those two if you're wanting
Okay.
to go that direction.
There you go. And defensively, which always gets overlooked, when we would break down the upcoming Panthers games, every week we're like, all right, here's the injury report. They've got like 6 starters on there. Like you didn't
Yeah.
know who was going to be available. And that seems like a pretty good up and coming young defense. How do you read their defensive side?
Yeah, I think they were Swiss cheese when it came to the rush last year. I mean, everybody just ran all over them, and I think they've addressed it with bringing in a lot of new players. You got to be able to stop the run, and if they can do that, I think the backside of the defense is really good. You got 2 corners now that I feel like you can build off of. They re-signed Mike Jackson, and we got who else is back there in the back? Played to South Carolina. Oh my gosh, can't think of
You
the
got
cornerback. You got me,
JC Horn.
J.C. Horn. Yeah, because now we got Jimmy Horn and J.C. Horn. I was gonna say Horn, but I couldn't think of the first name. So you got J.C. Horn and Mike Jackson. So they're solidified back there. They drafted a young safety that played at Ohio State. I mean, they're big up front. Derek Brown was out. I think that's a big problem last year. You lost Derek Brown. He was kind of a run stopper right there at nose tackle position. So they'll be stacked up front this year, and look for better things from the Panthers on the defensive side for sure. They must feel good about it. They released Clowney, so all those defensive ends that they picked up in the draft, They must feel really good about where they're at.
So this show is called Bet Sweats. When you're in the car, what's the biggest sweat or rush of adrenaline when you're out there on race day?
Oh man, got to be restarts, right? I mean, you're looking 3-4 wide, running inches off of the guy next to you, trying to put him in a bad situation so he'll have to lift and gain a position. So definitely restarts are fun and part of our sport that has the
So,
adrenaline portion.
my son recently got into sports cards, and of course, I jumped in because I was into it when I was a kid. But we had collectibles when I was younger, and then I realized that they're not worth anything because everybody has all the same cards. But like what I realize is, oh man, the game has completely changed, which I believe you're in on. You get like pieces of uniforms inside of cards. You'll pull a pack and you'll get an autograph. So what is the most valuable sports collectible that you have?
Wow. I got into baseball cards there during COVID.
Yep.
Was buying tons on Whatnot and these auction sites, and I pulled an Otani autographed card out of 75, and I ended up selling it on Golden. I think I made 17 grand, 18 grand on that, so that was pretty cool. But I don't have that card anymore. I think my best piece of memorabilia right now, I've got a patch that's Saquon, Adrian Peterson, Christian McCaffrey, and I can't think of the fourth guy, but I got Christian to sign it, and it already had Saquon's auto on it. So I'm trying to get all four of those guys, which would be epic.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's a different game now, Sam. Like you get pieces of uniform jerseys now in these cards. It's awesome. Austin Dillon, thank you for joining us. Best of luck this weekend. BetMGM 300, and of course the Coca-Cola 600. All right.
Thanks for having me on, fellas.